very warm welcome to this special edition of Sumita Kareer. Now, on this special edition, we bring you a very special interaction with Sridhar Vembu, the founder and CEO of Zoho. Sridhar, remember, is known for his passion for building in rural India and, of course, the confidence that billion-dollar companies can be run from small towns. So I spoke to him after their annual event in Bengaluru a couple of days back on the company's latest offering, that is Vikra on ONDC, on his take on geopolitical challenges and what those challenges will mean for companies like Zoho. He also spoke about the company's semiconductor push, and of course, he also weighed in on the long working hour debate and the need for India to have its own critical technologies right here in the country. Let's listen in to that interaction. Vanakkam, sir. Thank you very much for joining us here on ET Now. In fact, we were expected to meet in Bengaluru. However, that couldn't happen from our side. But we do hope to meet you in future in person. So, sir, let's start with this question on Zoho's ONDC foray and what does Vikra offer? This is coming in after DPI. What do you think of ONDC as a whole? And do you have any plans on venturing into the buyer's side?
So, first of all, the DPI, the digital public infrastructure in India, is taking off in a big way. And the term itself is now more current in India than anywhere else. India is a pioneer in digital public infrastructure. With the massive success, now they announced that UPI is now 15 billion transactions per month, more than 500 million per day. And that is now that leveraging that strength with Aadhaar, UPI, all of that. ONDC has published the whole set of protocols. What we are doing with Vikra is to come up with a buyer side app. Seller side app, I should say. On the seller side, so the merchant who's our customer in already in Zoho Books and inventory, all of that, now they can participate in ONDC with their seller side app. This is our first entry point into the ONDC ecosystem. We plan to do a lot more with Vikra, and we also have, of course, the Vikra integrating with our Zoho Books, Zoho Inventory, and Zoho Payments, all of that. So, and then, of course, that is in the back end, that's integrated with banking. So all of the stuff the merchant needs, we cover it here. So that's the benefit of the whole approach we are taking.
Absolutely, sir. And you do have a payments plan as well. But let's also speak about generative AI, given the kind of strides that it is seeing globally. Now, companies are investing in it. SaaS in itself is looking at getting disrupted. So how are you looking at leveraging this AI opportunity? What kind of push are you giving to AI at Zoho? And how do you think the moves that we're seeing in AI will impact companies like Zoho?
So there is multiple components to AI. First, AI as a tool for end users to benefit from, and we are integrating it contextually. Our vision is what we call CI, or contextual intelligence. It is AI, the LLMs, brought together with contextual data that's already in the databases, for example, a CRM system or an accounting system or any of those. We combine with AI and provide uh, much more use to the customer of our products. In that sense, AI is not a product by itself. AI enhances our product experience. It surfaces information that's already there, but they may have overlooked it, brings it to their attention in the form of nice reports, all of that. That's one use of AI. We call it contextual intelligence. There's quite a different use case for AI where we believe AI is going to drastically increase software productivity. The analogy I give is that software engineer, we traditionally we can think of software engineer as someone who's weaving together code. It's like a weaver of old. This is a weaving clothes. We are weaving code together, very much like a hand weaving. There are some tools, but really it's very much a kind of a very manual operation. Now with AI, we see the emergence of very powerful power looms, and those can enhance the productivity of weaving tenfold, maybe eventually even hundredfold. This is what we are preparing for ourselves to achieve this kind of productivity leap in software development, and that has massive consequences for SaaS and all of the software industries. In fact, it is even, somebody could argue that given that type of productivity, software prices may drop further and further, because that's what happens when productivity in a sector takes a leap. For example, when semiconductor revolution happened, the price per transistor dropped massively, and that's what enabled us all of this technology that we are enjoying today. In a similar way, there is a software productivity revolution coming that could drop the price of business software, all of that entirely. This, of course, poses a huge challenge for companies like us that depend on software revenue, SaaS revenue. And we are figuring out how to compete in that world where software could become ubiquitous. Software, the productivity of software development rises sharply. That's what we are preparing ourselves for.
All right, so you're gearing up for those challenges coming up on account of AI. But what do you make of the government's push towards AI after, the DPI push that we've seen being given in the past few years? India has also been known for the export of its software capabilities. But now that AI is the next leg of growth that many countries are looking to hope from, so far as technology is concerned, how do you think India can leverage this opportunity? And where do you see India placed overall in the global AI ecosystem in the next couple of years?
First of all, as far as the government is concerned, there is a AI from our Human Resources Development Ministry constituted a committee to set up AI centers of excellence with academic industry
Right.
collaboration. And I'm actually the chairman of that committee, and we recently conducted a sort of a competition among various academic institutions, mostly IITs, IASC, AIMS, and various IITs, many other engineering colleges, BITS, NITs. They all participated in it. And in Delhi recently, it happened about 2 or 3 weeks ago. And so, three centers of excellence: one for agriculture, one for transportation, urban mobility, and one for healthcare, are being set up. And this is a fairly substantial budget, over 1,000 crores for these three centers together. So the government is doing really, very far-sighted measures in this, and I was very happy, personally, as the chairman of the committee. I was very happy to see the quality of the presentations from various institutions, various IITs, IASC, BITS Pilani, and NITs, and all of them, and competed very hard for this. It was very tough for us as the jury to decide who should be awarded the centers of excellence. But so, in that sense, I was very happy to see the talent pool emerging in our country in AI and applying AI to various problems. And for example, I want to highlight IIT Ropar in Punjab did a fantastic job applying these for agriculture. And I was very happy to see that young team do so well. So these are, I just want to highlight some examples like that. So there is a lot of AI talent coming up in our country. That is something I'm very happy about. And the government is also encouraging it with this AI centers of excellence, all of that. The next part is now, how do we compete globally with all this? And here, this is where actually there's one level where the foundation models, like what OpenAI is doing, are extremely costly, not just in terms of capital. It could be a billion or 2 or 3 billion proposition, also in terms of energy. We are talking about gigawatt scale power plants just to power the AI revolution right now. And we already have, we are an energy deficient nation. So that's something that we have to be concerned about. How do we address this? Solar power combined with all this could be one solution, but we still have to think through this. So that is a challenge. In the first, the talent is not the problem, but the resources in terms of physical resources. We are talking about energy. That is a challenge right now.
All right, so let me also ask you about Zoho, which hit $1 billion in revenue, and that's completely unheard of and absolutely fantastic. So give us a sense of the kind of revenues that you're expecting this year, and how much more has Zoho been able to clock this year?
We are definitely growing, just as with the rest of the industry, growing a little bit slower this year than last year. Growth has slowed down across the board, across all our geographies everywhere. And what is in that, what is heartening is to see extremely rapid growth in India, and we are also seeing very good growth in Middle East, and we are seeing growth in uh, Africa and in South America. In other words, wherever the demographics is favorable, we are seeing actually very good growth. Middle East has been one of the fastest growing markets for us, along with India. So, and we are happy to see this because it shows where the demographic forces are shifting right now in the global economy. But temporarily, in the this year, I see definitely a slower growth as with the rest of the industry. Part of it is, of course, all of the geopolitical tensions, all of that you see. That's current. But
Yes.
There's also broader. The AI related, lot of companies are kind of waiting and watching which way these things are going to go because significant this field is significantly changing right now. So they don't want to make major decisions until sort of the dust is clear, so to speak.
All right, sir. So, since your business is tied very closely to the business globally and particularly in the United States, let me ask you about that Fed rate cut. Bullishness was seen in the markets few days back on back of that anticipated Fed rate cut. There are expectations that there will be another rate cut. So, how do you think that rate cut is going to trigger growth for your business? Maybe not directly, but in terms of how that will sort of impact the growth of the US economy, and in turn, the kind of business that you get?
Um, we, these rate changes don't impact the business that much, but there is a broader macroeconomic impact where it could extend the growth cycle in the US for some more time. But that cycle is already well extended. I believe that the US is due for a recession or even worse because of the extreme amount of debt that's overhanging there. So those issues have to be worked out. It's not clear that, I see, in other words, the next 10 years in the global economy may not mirror the last 10 years. That is also something that we are preparing ourselves for. How do these changing winds in the globe? And one way we are diversifying is going into where the demographically rich nations where, like India itself, where growth is expected to be above average. That's where we are focusing our own resources right now.
But surely there is volatility due to geopolitical conflicts as well. There are tremors of debt being seen, elections in several countries, and hence there could be policy disruptions that could come in the future. But how much of an impact overall will these have on the kind of growth that we're seeing unleash here in India?
So India is in a complex situation. Obviously, we are well exposed to the global economy in terms of, for example, our IT services, all of it. Whatever happens in New York or in London has a direct impact in Bangalore. That's clear, right? That's one level. At the same time, there is a massive increase in. So the word outsourcing is giving way to now the global capability centers. This is not just simply a nomenclature change; it's a significant upgrade of India. India is now part of creating these technologies, these critical things the world needs. That's what a global capability center means. It's not merely outsourcing some back office jobs, but much, much, much more significant. That is a very positive sign for India. That means a lot of very high-end jobs are moving to India, not just low-end jobs. Higher-end jobs are moving. This combined, but and then on the other side, you face the AI-related challenges, which, as I mentioned, software productivity is going to go up. That could have an impact on jobs. It's exactly like the weaving industry, where when powerful looms came and uh, human weavers actually had to, a lot of them lost their jobs. In a similar cycle could repeat in this. So if you combine all of this, there is and then there is a domestic growth story itself. India is investing heavily in infrastructure. Growth is spreading to second tier towns, all of that. So so what I see over the next 10, 20 years is on the one side, we have capabilities that are coming in due to global capability centers. On the other side, we have to uh, upgrade our own growth story so that all of our youthful vitality, our demographic advantage can be put to use to develop our own economy. That's how I see the India story playing out over the next 10, 20 years.
Indeed, sir, and bulls as opposed to bears is what we also get from investors so far as the India market is concerned. But, sir, let me also ask you one specific question related to Zoho, and that is about this news of Zoho's purported investment in a semiconductor manufacturing unit in Odisha. We believe that an application has already been filed. So then the question is, when is that project coming up? And if that is coming up soon, which sectors are of interest to you?
Clearly, uh, government of India is making a major push to have semiconductor fabrication plants in India, and we want to play our part, which is why we have applied for a fab. The application is pending. It is very premature, way too premature to speculate on when, where, all of that. Those are so that story in that sense is inaccurate. The only accurate part is yes, we have made an application. The part that I do want to say is it's a very sharp people who are evaluating it. I really like the depth of the questions they are asking, all of the parameters they are looking at, the technology, who are we licensing it from, the health of those companies, the longevity of those companies. Is this technology the right way forward, or there are other technologies that could compete with it? All of these questions they are asking. So I'm very happy to see the depth and quality of those. We have to cross all of those gates in order to get approved. Only then can we announce anything. So until then, I just this is all I can say.
All right, sir. So we'll be waiting for that application to get a nod. But, sir, India has also been known for its software capabilities for a very long time. And that's something that has been voiced by founders as well, that belief that Indian founders and Indian companies need to have in India's own software capabilities. Now, government representatives have also said, and that in context to global big tech companies and how they are operating, there is a need to own and store data locally. So in that sense, we need to now own these platforms or have these kind of platforms come in from India from a data security point of view, and also so that we cannot be arm twisted by the big techs. And sir, you have led that in terms of how Zoho is competing against the likes of some, big tech companies, US big tech companies. So how can companies then build for India, and give us a sense of your expansion plans?
First of all, the fact that that conversation is happening itself is a good sign. 10 years ago, 15 years ago, we were not even thinking about it. Now we are talking about it widely. It say we need domestic capabilities in these areas. We need these critical technologies. I see it as a very positive sign. And as I also told you earlier, I see a lot of talent in our academic institutions now. Wherever I go, the young students I meet, there's a lot more energy, there's a lot more drive. All of that is there now. And simply the know how and the exposure to the technologies. As every student, now they are using ChatGPT, they are using this, they are using that. So they are exposed to these technologies, which is a very good sign. So put all this together, I believe that we are in the next 5-10 years, we'll see a major push in critical technologies we need. And that's in whether it's operating systems, databases, and fundamental networking technologies. All of this, I believe that India will come to have significant capabilities in those. And semiconductor is just part and parcel of the same thing. So I'm optimistic that way. We are doing our part, investing heavily in gaining those capabilities ourselves.
So you've not ventured into the IPO market, but what do you make of the current ecosystem of IPOs? SEBI has raised some concerns also with regards to oversubscription when founders sometimes mislead. But what do you make of the current market in terms of the risks that are involved, and why have you chosen to remain private?
Yeah, all I will say is I'm very happy to be private right now. With and it's very hard to be a public company CEO with inflated stock prices, sky high expectations. It's hard enough to run a company. It's even harder when investors are constantly expecting miracles quarter after quarter, which is what really inflated expectations mean. Inflated stock markets mean that you have to deliver outstanding results this quarter and then top that with even more outstanding results next quarter. The pressure is intense, and it's that pressure. I think a lot of people crack under that kind of pressure, which is why you tend to cut corners or all of that. So all I'll say is I'm so glad we are private right now.
All right, so inflated expectations do mean intense work pressure, so you're not really looking at that story just yet. But sir, there's also a debate raging over 70-hour work week. We're seeing news of employees suddenly dying or getting heart attacks due to alleged intense work pressure. And the next generation seemingly now wants to have a work-life balance. What's going wrong on here with the kind of stories that we're seeing coming out? And where do you stand on this? And I also want to understand, did building a company like yours take that much toll? Did it require for that many long working hours to be involved?
I'll answer the last question first. No, it did not take all of that. We just took the slow road. I'm now 27, 28th year now. I'd like to work another 28 years if possible, if universe is willing. And to do that, you cannot, you cannot have burnout. You cannot get too stressed out. You have to have a kind of maintain an even pace. That's what, they call work-life balance. So we have built the company that way over a steady course. And part of the pressure that, you're talking about, all the pressure is also coming from public markets. In other words, if somebody is going to go for PE, price to earnings of 100, 200, 300, whatever, that necessarily means they have to show earnings growth that rapidly. And it's very difficult to grow that rapidly quarter after quarter, year after year, because there are, other stuff happens, geopolitical stuff happens, markets change, technologies change, all of that. That's what is adding to the pressure. And if we can, so in our kind of company, we always have believed in that type of a balance. It's not that our people don't work hard. I work hard, but we can maintain a balance. We don't pressure ourselves so much. And I think that's always necessary.
All right, sir. So you chose rural villages to have your sites related to a developmental centers. How did that work out strategically? And on the basis of one managing a company frugally, what's that one message that you want to give out to all the budding entrepreneurs out there?
Entrepreneurs are supposed to think out of the box. I'll say think out of the box of the 20, 30, 50 square kilometers you are in a very vast, dense urban territory as well. That's also a box. Don't box yourself in, because just this morning I went for a walk here, and you feel that expanse of space that itself gives you an optimism, regardless of what's going on in the world. You want to stay positive, cheerful. And that's the only way to build these long-term companies. To get that mindset, it helps to kind of uncouple from the extreme pressure cooker atmospheres. That's what I would suggest. Just decouple a little bit, take the slow road. It can help. And we have done this over a long haul. We are working on very critical technologies. In fact, as it is yesterday, internally we launched a tool for this. I talked about this power loom kind of a tool. So we are working on some very critical technologies, but still we actually don't, overstress ourselves so much that people break. That's what is important. So have that balance. That's what I would suggest to entrepreneurs as well as investors.
Decoupling from the pressure mindset, indeed, that is critical. So one final question. What is your FY25 outlook, and what are going to be your key priorities over the next couple of months?
Our fundamental priority remains the same as it has always been. We want to gain serious technical capabilities in very critical technologies that are essential both for our company's success as well as for our nation's prosperity long term. That's what we are working day in and day out, whether it is in semiconductors we are talking about, whether it's in compiler technology, whether it's in operating systems, whether it's in cloud infrastructure, in application user experience, all of this. We want to have the critical technologies, the capabilities. And we want to build them in rural areas because we want to spread that prosperity more widely. That is our fundamental goal, and we continue on that mission. And quarter to quarter, we may adjust based on, for example, Europe market is doing this, Middle East is doing that, so we may adjust some tactics, but the overall philosophy and the strategy remains the same. So that's what I like to say.
There comes a time when your heart calls for you to arise. Plant your feet solid into the ground. Decide your own limits, and then break right through them. Become something more. It's my time to rise.